So back in 2020, I, Steven Shinder, started a podcast called Delayed Replay, recapping and reviewing the latest films. However, it got broadcast into an alternate universe, where those films got delayed and came out differently from how I was describing them. Because of how me and my guests had been describing the films, people in that other universe were saying that this was all an improvised comedy podcast, which, listening back, I can totally get why they believe that. A lot of weird stuff happened in that first year, and I even met my other self from that other universe, who pops in from time to time, for better or worse. And now, in the year 2023, this podcast continues, still recapping and reviewing movies and sometimes some other things that got delayed or cancelled in that other universe. A new episode Saturdays every other week, unless I decide otherwise for some special reason or whatever. You are listening to Delayed Replay, Season 4.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed or canceled or what have you in that other universe, but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, as always, Steven Shinder, and joining me once again, this time to talk about a movie that came out this second weekend in March, Morbius 2. It's Morbin Time. It is Greg, not the Greg who was on the first Morbius episode, but the other Greg who's been on more episodes. How's it going?
I'm the more famous Greg. I couldn't even get through the title of this damn movie.
Yeah, just recasting Greg like they recast Morbius with Dev Patel.
Yeah, no. The man does great wonders with the Last Airbender.
Yeah, throwback to like 3 years ago when I made a Facebook post saying I was gonna watch The Last Airbender, and all my friends were commenting, telling me to stop. Yeah, I think one of them was like, "I beg of you, please don't do this," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm already watching this."
It's something that has to be done at least once. It's like The Room. You just have to watch it once.
Yeah, I mean, once was enough for me for The Last Airbender, but it's funny that you bring up The Room because I've sort of refused to watch it like over the last several years, so I've like never actually seen it. I just know the memes. But I saw yesterday that Bob Odenkirk might be starring in a remake of that, and I love Bob Odenkirk because, you know, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, so it's like, oh damn, I guess I might watch a version of The Room after all.
The Disaster Artist, which is pretty much a remake, kind of, because obviously he's pretending to be was it Tommy Wiseau Tommy Wiseau in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not gonna watch The Disaster Artist. Like, I'll only watch The Room if Bob Odenkirk is in it, basically. People sort of know my history with Morbius. I've read the 2013 comic series, which had some good points, but I kind of wish it looked more gothic, like the cover art of the first issue did. But for you, like, it's just been the movies that you're familiar with. Is that correct?
Yeah, just that's one movie.
And I want to ask you, like, since this is a vampire movie, I don't know if I've ever talked about this with you on the show, but like, what are some of your favorite vampire stories?
Well, obviously Dracula, the 30s one.
Oh yeah, with Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, that is a great movie. Well, I saw the Underworld films, which were interesting to say the least.
Like, good interesting or bad interesting?
The story was interesting. It was a good interesting, but the direction and everything else was horrifying. Like, there's such good actors in it. I don't know how they could do that.
Yeah,
Like, I like
it's
Charles Dance, the other guy.
the other guy.
What even is his name?
I don't know. I've never seen those, but I've seen the Resident Evil movies, and it's been pointed out that like it kind of feels like those like first 6 Resident Evil movies and the Underworld movies kind of feel like they're interchangeable. Like people could get those film series mixed up. And I think growing up, like even before I watched any of the Resident Evil movies, I kind of got that vibe just looking at the covers of the movies or like the posters or whatever. It's like, yeah, these look like pretty much the same thing.
Yes, I saw the trailers for the Resident Evil movies. I still have to see them. I say have to. That's just how I roll.
Yeah, you have an addiction, my friend. This is an intervention, Greg. Too many bad movies.
This is every podcast how it starts. Tell me to stop watching movies.
Yeah.
But the other guy was Bill Nye and Michael Sheen. It's can't believe they're in the series, and it's insane that
Like Bill Nye the actor or the science guy?
the actor.
Okay.
Obviously, the What We Do in the Shadows, amazing movie.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed that movie too, and I've seen some of the show as I've mentioned before. I still need to like get through more of it, but I've loved what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I want to see the New Zealand one, not the American one.
Right. Yeah. The movie has a TV spin-off called what's it called? Paranormal something.
Yeah,
It's
is that the police or something?
yeah,
It's like the
there's
police
like
people from the movie.
yeah, it's got police involved. Trying to like Google it. What's it called?
Wellington Paranormal.
Oh yeah, Wellington Paranormal, yeah. Yeah, that one's pretty funny too from what I've seen so far. But yeah, like I've mentioned before, my favorite vampire story is the I Am Legend novel. And I recently saw that there's going to be a sequel to the Will Smith movie, but they're picking up from the alternate ending, which is definitely a choice. Like I've heard the alternate ending is better, even though I don't think I've actually watched it, but I know what happens. But it's funny how they're like making a sequel picking up from the alternate ending. I guess you could kind of compare it to like the way that the Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchises kind of revise certain endings and pick up from there or something, or Terminator even.
Yeah, I still haven't seen I Am Legend. It's like something I should watch.
Yeah, I remember like watching that one in the theater with my brother and my dad, and it was really suspenseful. Unlike this Morbius sequel, unfortunately.
Yeah, there are much better vampire movies out there,
Yeah.
such as From Dusk Till Dawn, which was insane.
Oh yeah, that one is like it's like chef's kiss.
Honestly,
It's just like actiony fun type thing.
it's like the best of both of Tarantino. They got the crime
And
filled first half, and
Rodriguez.
then yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a TV show based on that as well, but I'd been meaning to see it. I think it was on Netflix, but I just never got around to it. I assume it's probably bad though, so like I don't know if I'll get to it.
Probably. I've seen the 2 sequels.
Yeah,
to
I've
this
seen the sequels too. Yeah. They're pretty forgettable. Like
I
I
mean,
think
one
one
was alright.
I think the third one takes place in the Old West or something, right?
Yes, because Danny Trejo is the bartender still.
Yeah, he's in like
That's
all of them.
yeah.
Yeah, like they basically went the Back to the Future route, or I guess Tremors did that as well. The fourth movie of that took place in the Old West. I vaguely
Yeah, that
remember.
was that was decent. Yeah.
As a refresher, in the post-credit scene of Craven, Dev Patel as Morbius, along with Michael Keaton as Vulture, approached Craven, and they're like trying to form the Sinister Six. And they fought Blade in Blade's movie, and now they're here, and it's like some of the movie is them trying to form the team, like they're like interviewing some random criminals who aren't even supervillains. What'd you think of this interview scene at the beginning?
Have they seen Deadpool? Because I swear that's how they start the whatever the hell it's called in Deadpool.
Oh, the X-Force?
Yeah, X-Force. That's it.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't X-Men.
Yeah, the X-Force. If my voice sounds weird right now to listeners, it's because I have a cough drop in my mouth. So yeah,
Bringing in the realism.
yeah. Just want the people to feel like they're like right here. They're like,
right in your mouth, eating the
Wow.
cough drop with you.
God no. This the Shrek 4D experience.
Well, let's all forget about Shrek the Third.
I don't get what people hate about Shrek the Third, honestly.
That the fact that they basically recast Rumpelstiltskin
Well, they recast him in the
in the
fourth
fourth
movie.
one. Yeah, but it was so much better than what happened in the third movie.
It's whatever, but yeah, I like all the Shrek movies, but I guess that's a debate for another time.
Yeah.
Maybe
we
that
gotta
time
get
is
Morbin
ever,
Time.
but
That time is Morbin Time.
yeah. But yeah, it does feel like they were ripping off that scene from Deadpool, but you get all these like celebrity cameos. Like you even have Kevin Smith playing some criminal being interviewed here, but he's like very silent, so it's hard for them to like get info out of him. What was another celebrity cameo? These are like kind of quick.
There was Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Well, which is weird because I mean they use the multiverse to explain it, but yeah, you see him like with his actual face, and then he shows his like burning skull, and he's like, "Wait, this is a villain interview? I'm not down with this," and he like walks away. Which is weird because later in the movie, Nicolas Cage comes back as a different character. He actually plays himself, who in this universe is a vampire, and he's like the main villain of this movie.
Of course. It's funny
Yeah,
because he said that he doesn't want to be in MCU movies, so technically it isn't.
yeah, yeah. In that other universe, he said that. Yeah, but over here, it's like, oh, he'll come back as Ghost Rider, and he'll also play himself as a vampire. When he shows up, he basically repeats some lines from Vampire's Kiss. It's like, I'm a vampire.
He recites the alphabet really angrily.
Yeah, he does it forward and then he does it backwards. I can actually say it backwards. I don't remember if I've ever done this on the podcast, but yeah, I memorized it.
You memorized? Oh, I hope so. I hope you know your CBAs.
You mean ZYXs?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or
But
ZYX, if you want to be English about it.
oh yeah, you guys pronounce it Zed, which is funny because I associate Zed with zombies because the first time I ever heard the word, or I guess the pronunciation Zed, was like a decade or so ago when I read this zombie survival guide book, and it kept referring to the zombies as Zeds, and I just thought that was like a quirky name for them. But I don't know, maybe they were just like using the other pronunciation of the letter. I don't know.
I mean, do you go World War Z or World War Z?
I say World War Z.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough. I still haven't seen that one either. My God,
It's pretty terrible. The book is like way better.
of course.
Because like the book is more of a documentary style thing. Like the author like pretends that he's like the author is Max Brooks, son of Mel Brooks, and
Oh,
he basically acts like he's like interviewing all these different characters who survived through World War Z. And the audio book version of this has like an ensemble cast of people from various franchises. Like Mark Hamill is in it. Some other people who I'm blanking on. Someone from Star Trek was in it, that I remember, and I think someone from Babylon 5. But yeah, like when you look at the cast list for this, it's pretty amazing.
yeah, it's John Turturro as well.
The movie is like at best 1% like the book. It's just like a generic zombie action movie with Brad Pitt in it.
It is directed by the guy who did Quantum of Solace. So
Oh yeah, that's the one that people don't care much for, right?
yeah, that's the one that nobody likes. It's like you had Casino Royale and then
Yeah, it's like you get the chocolate cake, and then right after you get like a ball of earwax type thing.
yeah.
Right. So they're dealing with Nicolas Cage as a threat to their like attempt at forming this like supervillain team. Vulture, Morbius, and Craven have this lair in a bat cave, which looks suspiciously similar like the bat cave. They've put computers in there. There's like a giant toy dinosaur. It looks like a giant plushy thing. So yeah, what'd you think of this bat cave?
It was kind of funny that like Michael Keaton was wandering around on the computer, and then Morbius was like, "How do you know your way around the computers?" And he's like, "Well, it just comes naturally."
Yeah.
It's like it's been here before.
Yeah, and like the computers look like 90s computer, like with the green text and whatnot. Like this movie somehow looks like it's got like a 1990s aesthetic, even though it takes place in like the around our time, like 2020s. So it's really weird the way that this movie looks.
Yes, it's very 90s. I noticed that. It's very questionable, but I mean, given Michael Keaton and what he's been doing recently, maybe they're trying to say something with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Keaton's been making bank with all his cameos and whatnot. But yeah, you've also got like modern things like TikTok. There's a moment where they look at some TikTok video and it's like really weird. Do you remember like what was going on in that TikTok video?
Yeah, I think Vulture was busy riding around on Morbius. It was very questionable. I had no idea what they were doing. It was like some like horse thing, and then and then Craven was standing around the side going, "Can't believe you've done this."
Yeah. Yeah, it was so cringe, like especially because they proceeded to read some comments, like some feedback on the internet that people are saying about the video. And so you get like all this Gen Z or sorry, Gen Z lingo, like all these phrases and whatnot.
Yeah, they're like no cap.
Yeah.
This was lit. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Where did Morbius get this Riz? He has unlimited Riz.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, Dev Patel is good in other things, but he doesn't really get the feel of the character in this. Like, it's weird because this feels like it could be a sequel to either version of Morbius. Like either way, they're trying to make this one meme worthy. And so it feels like they're not trying to make much of an effort to take things seriously, and it's just memes all over the place. Like it's become Morbius's catchphrase to say it's Morbin time whenever like he fights some other criminals or other vampires or whatever. So yeah, it's just really hard to take seriously.
Yeah, I think you're trying to go like a comedic tone with it, when like the first film was trying to be serious, but then obviously had that one doctor, well, I can't remember even his name, Matt
Yeah,
Smith,
Matt Smith.
doing his dancing. And I
Yeah,
was like, the hell am I watching?
yeah. Like having seen both versions of Morbius, like yeah, that one was like really cringe.
Not that this one was any better, to be fair.
Right, yeah, this one
They
like
full
this,
sent. They full sent into the cringe in this one.
yeah. And they try to make it so that there's a little bit of a horror element, like there are snarls and whatnot, but they never come off as being scary, like no matter which vampire it comes from.
Yeah, it was weird. They like he was snarl, and then like he had to eat a lemon to like go back to normal because his face would get stuck in the snarl position.
Yeah, but then
It's
he
kind of
realized that lemons are like another vampire weakness he wasn't aware of, and so he's like kind of dying, and Craven and Vulture have to figure out like how to cure him, like get
yeah.
the lemon
Craven's
out.
like, didn't you know lemons loom like rain? You shouldn't be eating these.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to hear that. It's like, wait, are my book sales gonna skyrocket now? Like, what's going on here?
What is the meaning of the saying, lemons loom like rain?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Like on one, I don't know whether to be flattered or whether to be like ew because it was in this movie, but I mean, I guess I'll take any publicity, you know.
Yeah, like even if it was like, if it was in My Little Pony or something, even like, I can handle that.
I'm sure My Little Pony is better than this.
It could be.
Yeah, I've never watched My Little Pony, but I know people who've like said like positive things, so like who knows?
You know, bronies.
Like at least one, I think. So maybe two. I don't know.
I haven't met one yet. They're still out in the wild.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta get a lasso or something.
Wrap around their horn.
They do some research and they figure out that the only way to cure Morbius from this lemon sickness is by getting the blood of Nicolas Cage and mixing it with some chicken nuggets.
Get those nugs.
Yeah, that dipping sauce for those nugs, those chicky nuggies.
Those nugs be lit, fam.
Yeah.
Dipping in the dipping sauce, raw sauce.
Yeah, so they try to track down Nicolas Cage, like try to figure out what his next location's gonna be. And they hear about like some sightings, because you know, people post on the internet and just can't shut up on Reddit and whatnot. And then it turns out that Nicolas Cage is like on a jet. They never make it clear whether this is his private jet or just some airline that isn't doing so well, but yeah, he's on a jet, and they have to like figure out how to break into it, and basically like this is where the next long like fight sequence ensues, and it's kind of ridiculous, like very reckless, one might say.
Yeah, it's weird that Craven Hunter could fly all of a sudden. Like, because you had Vulture and Morbius morbing,
Yeah.
and then Craven just like he just sprouted. I don't know even what he sprouted.
Yeah, he sprouted some kites out of his back, so it's like he's kind of
Kite
like
Man.
Kite Man, but not really. It's like the kites are like actually part of his body. They come out of his skin, and it's like really weird. And they never explain like why that happened. They just like let it happen and don't explain it.
Yeah, he's willed it. It's like I need kites. I need kites. So they just like he lassoed around Vulture to like get into the sky, and Vulture's like, "Yo, what the hell are you doing, man? Get off me!"
Yeah. Yeah, so they get inside the jet and they fight Nicolas Cage, and it's very long. They try throwing airline food at him, which apparently is one of his weaknesses. And at one point during the fight, it's like, man, this is a lot of effort to have a team so we can fight Spider-Man eventually. And I guess that's like a little reminder to the audience of like this having a direction, or I guess it's like the illusion of having a plan and overall direction, whereas there probably isn't an intricate plan. Yeah, they keep on fighting Nicolas Cage, and he keeps on like sprouting some quotes from some of his movies. Like they find some refrigerator magnets that are all the letter B for some reason, and they throw it at him, and he's like, "Not the bees!"
Yeah, that made me ruffle.
Yeah.
I ruffled so hard.
Yeah, and they figure out what Nicolas Cage is up to, and apparently he's trying to fly to some location where he's trying to find the Holy Grail. Like he's flying off to England to find the Holy Grail. And like he explains why he needs the Grail, right?
Yeah, so the three of them capture Nicolas Cage, and then they cage him in a cage.
Yeah.
So now Nicolas Cage is caged in the cage on the and they're like, yeah, they're trying to like get him to tell them where the Holy Grail is, and then Nicolas Cage tells them that it is in Stoke-on-Trent, of all places.
Yeah, and he basically says he wants the Grail because if people, like if vampires drink blood out of the Holy Grail, it just tastes better. Like there's really no benefit. That's just like the only thing about it. Morbius, Craven, and Vulture are also like, you know what? If we get the Grail, we could sell it for a lot of money on eBay, and like fund our team and like get a better lab.
They sell bathwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expected them to like get into a bath and just sell their bathwater.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, I mean, the plans of like all the planning of like throughout the movie of like what everyone wants is like really ridiculous. It kind of feels like they're going through the motions and just doing whatever.
It was like a kid wrote it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a Mad Libs thing, and like, yeah, the kid filled in the blanks, and like, yeah.
So when they land in Stoke-on-Trent, they have the amazing Dick and Dom singing the Stoke-on-Trent song with the cat from the bungalow. I'm sure this is something you must be aware of.
I've heard of Dick and Dom, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, so this joke was for the Englishman.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not English enough, even though I majored in English.
Yeah, there was a fine text that said Ashley American.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole quest, like, yeah, it's very convoluted, but they eventually get the Grail and they try selling it, but then Nicolas Cage like breaks out of his cage, and that's when another fight ensues. And at this point, I'm just like sitting in my seat, and I'm just like, I don't care about anything that's happening right now.
Yeah, just give me bright lights and explosions.
Yeah, but instead of that, like we don't even get much of that. Like throughout the movie, the color palette is like really dark to the point where sometimes you can't really see things clearly enough. Like it's comparable to AVP Requiem in that sense.
Oh, the memories. Those movies are terrible. Almost as bad as Aliens.
Right, you'll die on that hill.
Always.
Throwback to when IGN reviewed Mandalorian Chapter 18 and gave it a 5 out of 10 because they thought it looked too dark, like Game of Thrones.
I loved the episode, but goddamn, a 5. Oof.
Yeah, I didn't think
then
it
they gave the last
dark.
episode a 9. Oof.
Yeah, I didn't think it looked dark. Like I could see everything clearly. Like I don't know
what
what
they goddamn mine underground. What do you expect? Bright lights?
A mine. Gimli
a
from
mine, DeLorean.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Morbius 2 isn't as epic as either of those. So yeah, there's this fight that's like really hard to see, even though it's supposedly daytime. Like I couldn't make out who was like hitting who or whatever, but in the end, I guess they defeat Nicolas Cage. I couldn't see like whether they killed him or incapacitated him or what. So they defeat him, and like Nicolas Cage is like you don't see him anymore, but they have the Grail and they're like trying to do an eBay auction, and this sequence of them just sitting at the computer watching the Grail, like people bid on it, like it was rather long. It was like a good 17 minutes, this scene. And yeah, they try to figure out whether this bidder even has the money, and it turns out no, it was just like a ruse to lure them.
Yeah, he set up traps all around the house.
Yeah, like there are like some spikes, and there's like a giant wrecking ball. And there are like some robot machine gun things, like just like super ridiculous stuff trying to like kill off this team.
Yeah, it's really weird when they activated the wrecking ball and then Morbius jumped onto the wrecking ball and then the Miley Cyrus song started playing.
Yeah. And like they played the entire song. It wasn't even like just a snippet. It was like the full song.
It was excruciating.
Right. And at one point Vulture is like, I should visit my daughter more. It's like, oh yeah, he has a daughter who appeared in Homecoming. Like just a little reminder that he has a family.
Yes. Family.
Yeah, the family and the Furious. But yeah, like once again, it's like super dark, so it's hard to see if like any of them get injured. But there's like silence for a bit, and then it feels like certain people are down, and then it takes a moment for like whoever survived to like walk toward the screen. But again, it's like super dark, so like I don't even know like who survived, and then it just like cuts to black and roll credits.
And then it said, who will be cast as Spider-Man? So tuned.
Yeah, because doing the across the Spider-Verse, so it's like there are many possibilities, like who else will show up as Spider-Man type thing. And what'd you think of the credit scene that appeared?
Oh, what, when Michael Keaton saw Michael Keaton? That was interesting.
Yeah, that weird multiverse thing.
They really got to stop putting Michael Keaton in the Batman costume.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was a post-credit scene where like on the computer inside of the cave, there's like a sighting of an extraterrestrial that's like supposedly coming to Earth, and it's Null, who's supposed to be like the overarching symbiote villain they keep teasing, but it honestly feels like an afterthought. Like they only mention it, and it's like, oh, okay, is he finally coming? Like, what's going on here? Um, but yeah, that's basically it.
It's weird that it was Owen Wilson's voice though.
Yeah. So it's like he's Null and he's also in Loki. Like, what's going on here?
It's all coming together.
Yeah, Kronk from Emperor's New Groove.
It's getting crunk.
I don't know why I said that as if the reference is so obscure that no one would get it. Like, I feel like Emperor's New Groove isn't as unpopular as some people make it out to be.
I think everyone knows Kronk.
Yeah.
I hope.
So, I guess with that, we can go into final thoughts, score out of 10, and unit of measurement. So, what are your final thoughts, score out of 10, and unit of measurement for Morbius 2, It's Morbin Time?
Well, they should have took more time writing this damn thing. Because it seemed like they were just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. Which just seems using the same actor for two different roles in the movie. Because that's all they know how to do. Pretty damn boring. Like, yeah, like the action scenes, you couldn't see anything at all. It was dark as anything. But yeah, then the credit scenes, probably not going to amount to much, because who knows if they're going to even probably going to go bankrupt or something. They'll probably have to do it as a tax write-off. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I'd probably give the film 2 out of 10 lemons looming like rain.
Nice.
What did you think
Nice.
of this terrible movie?
Yeah, like I echo those sentiments. It's very dark and boring and like not even dark in tone, like you said, like it's trying to be funny, but it's not really funny. And then like they don't even like resolve much. Like I don't even, because like we don't know like what the full result of that last fight is, and it's like they didn't even like go through the effort of resolving whether or not Morbius is cured. So like yeah, it's just a cluster of a movie. It's worse than Craven even, which is kind of surprising but also not. Um like Sony should at this rate just stop basically. Um but yeah, I think I'm gonna give it the same numerical score. So I'll give it 2 out of 10 chicky nuggies.
Nice.
Yeah, but they're like um
The bad
they're,
nuggies.
they're they've been left out and have like mold on them and they're like really bad, so you know.
It's actually cake.
Yeah, if this movie would have been better if everything was cake.
Morbius? It's cake.
Yeah. Instead of blood, you get like jelly, like what you have inside of a jelly donut.
Jam. Donut.
Yeah, it could be jam, yeah. Whatever the red one is.
Yeah, jam donut.
Yeah.
I guess the sequel of jelly.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that'll do it for this one. I guess I'll plug the Sci-Fi and Horror Society Discord into the show notes like I usually do. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
being on again, Greg.
yeah, it's always good fun watching these terrible movies.
All right, and I'll put in my plugs in the edit like I normally do. So you can email Delayed Replay via delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on My Little Pony. You can also follow me at Steven Shinder on Instagram and Twitter, Steven Shinder Storytelling on Facebook. Go to stevenshinder.com for info on my book Lemons Loom Like Rain, and keep an eye out for news on the next book, Trespassing Through the Visages. And you can also find me on Yesshift, a podcast I do with my dad. It's also a vlog. We talk about Yes and its members, past and present. We've even had some of them and some other musicians on the show. Follow me on Goodreads, Letterboxd. Check out all the links in the show notes. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And without further delay, have a good day.